This oral showing you idea similar above Sif Vav through Ches. And this is day 211 of the Supplemental Arukh HaShulchan Yomi series. And so we're talking about a rea, a lung which was niglada, it was partially peeled. The Bahag said you have to check it by blowing it up. And the says here, if you don't check it out by blowing it up at all, by playing it, have a subject trait, it's a subject trait. For how you can ask, but his brother coming going to learn later on, Sif Kuf Aleph. They became bedika. We're not conversing with bedikos. On a boat game, any check which we check have a rak chum. It's only a kind of chumrah. If we need a check according to the din of the Gemara, according to the strict letter of the law, we would not say we're conversing with such checks. So we're going to say they don't check the partially peeled lung that it's treif, so the check is mandatory. That's the case. Exactly, we said we're a bucky in this. But Yeshua can say the came to Rabbi say the militia where they have chubis. So it says since our Shainim have understood from the Gemara that the b'dika is not mandatory. Even though without the b'dika it's a subject treifa on account of the words of the Bahag, the Chol Divrei Bahag Yem Divrei Kabbalah, because everything the Bahag says is a Messiah. But that's itself a chumrah. So this nevertheless to show malach milat tzmeinu to machar ourselves she'enu bekim that besides we're not bucky have a chumrah say that's a super chumrah. That's relying on our b'dika. He says look at the verse short. Poshelim I feel rak rova ran niglada, and he says even if only the majority of the lung is peeled. Also, the b'dika is required, the rubo kekulo. So it's not just if the entirety of the lung is peeled, but even if the majority is peeled. Although at the blush at the beginning of Sif Hey it said niklaf kol krumelia. Sounds like the entire thing is peeled. It says even if rov is peeled, requires b'dika. Zay kosar ben Ramah. Ramah writes, Mil nimsa bua mokum sheniklaf ora elyon. If you find a bubble in a place where the upper membrane has been peeled off, yesh la'atrif, have a considered treif. Because that's like a membrane which grows as a result of a wound. I can show end quote. When he says we're concerned that maybe the remaining membrane is also punctured. And the membrane you find there is on account of the wound. We have the whole kol krum shalom machmas. Any membrane which comes about as a result of a wound, ain't no krum, it's not a membrane. I've seen Mama say it's not proper closing. Shazel tam treifas kol sirchos k'moshes bar is the reason why we say all sirchos, all adhesions are treif, as we shall see. So the Gdolim have difficulty with this. They have because we don't assume that there's a problem in membrane A because it's a problem in membrane B because it's a problem in membrane A. Because even the entire upper membrane is peeled off. It's kosher as long as you check. We don't assume that the bottom membrane has been ruined. What do you care about the bubbles? That we're concerned that the lower membrane has gone away. Who says? So which is Swart's question. Because of the time we should so the two is short, and the which is because of the double whammy. The whammy A, the upper membrane is gone. B, there's a bubble. It's like there's as if there's a dangling adhesion coming from that bubble, or a bubble which is in another place where there's another floor, which we will clarify later on. The Sham Gamkin there also be a rotan to explain the reason because of double whammy. Now if he said, it's my hide the why is it saying it's like a membrane that came as a result of a wound? The reason is because of double whammy. They had difficulty to explain, but they said, it's the same thing. They because it's double whammy. We assume that the bottom membrane is also pierced, the krumalaba, and it kind of membrane which came on account of the mako. Yesh Yishom, those say the Mishum Tata Reisa, if it was the issue just of a double whammy, Eino Bebua Shamayim Achrim, Elo Bebua Shamayim Achrim, it's only by a bubble of murky water. The love of Zaki, not by clear water. Therefore, it says, well, yeah, but still, even if it's clear water, it could be it's a krum shalom machmas maka. Remember, it came as a wound. That also drapes it up, and that's differently. Kiva show. Ches. I don't think this is the case, says Arukh. The primary principles of Tata Reisa Shachron Achronim, Osman Klon, that's the last Achronim, made from them for principles, Upratim, generalities and specifications, Upratim Pratim, and details upon details, specifications, endless Ikam Shorish. It has no basis, no root, not from Shas Lamishayim. And those argue in the fundamentals of this principle. Let's look at the Prima name of Knesset like Dodo. But I would say about the Lo Yizkar Klai and our author Shor don't mention these principles. Yes, it's true. There are halachas where there's an issue of Tata Reusa. It's not a general principle. I'll culminate Tata Reusa that every double whammy automatically is like it's a paskin that it's treif. But everything is relevant to the situation. So in our day and age, kosher meat is very expensive. Perhaps in this rabbi in shear, and the loss is unbelievably much greater. I have said one animal can cause a loss of 100 the golden coins and more. Wow. Says we can't be machmir with chumas which are not strict letters of the law. Wow. But no matter that trevis, the Tata is so close, we're going to say that the trevis of double whammy is the general principle. How can it not be mentioned by the Rishonim, the Tur and Shulchan? Vade lav kolu. It's definitely not a principle. Of course, in the place where there's no hefseid, if you have such a thing, then certainly we should be machmer. But otherwise, why should macher? So here too, why should macher? Tata reisa. V'odis barbas yadashayim siman lam zayin sifutas. So why are we going to do the Ramah? What's the problem with the bua on the bottom membrane? Good question, but we're not going to answer it today because that's it for today. Tomorrow, Bezos Hashem Yisborach.